To the casual observer, Sarah Mitchell was just another SUV driver in the bustling city streets. Her dark SUV glided through traffic, always punctual, always calm. She wore casual clothing, a hoodie, jeans, and sneakers, but her posture hinted at discipline that seemed unusual for a suburban mom or office worker. Neighbors recognized her as quiet, polite, and dependable. She held doors open, helped elderly pedestrians cross the street, and smiled at children playing in the park. But no one guessed there was more behind those ordinary brown eyes. Her SUV was her sanctuary, a rolling office, a place to listen to podcasts, call family, and plan errands. Yet inside, her mind was constantly analyzing her surroundings, which exits to take in heavy traffic, where potential dangers could emerge, and how she could respond if something went wrong. She always parked strategically, with a clear path for escape or emergency access. She carried a small first aid kit and emergency supplies in her SUV, which she replenished meticulously every week. Her movements were precise and deliberate, opening doors, handling her phone, even placing groceries in her car with military-like efficiency. At work, she had a quiet reputation for solving problems no one else wanted to tackle. If a minor workplace crisis arose, Sarah instinctively took charge without demanding attention or recognition. Her coworkers assumed it was a natural gift for organization, but in reality, it was the discipline and training of her Army years coming to the surface. She had served multiple deployments overseas, mastering navigation, first aid, and leadership under pressure. She had been trained to remain calm in chaotic, life-threatening situations. The Army had taught her that small decisions in high-stress moments could save lives. To most people, this was invisible. But small gestures, a habit of scanning every room she entered, a refusal to be caught off guard, hinted at a life of discipline and preparation far beyond ordinary civilian experience. On an otherwise normal morning, Sarah parked her SUV near a busy intersection, preparing to run errands. She noticed subtle signs that would escape anyone else's attention: a driver swerving dangerously in the opposite lane, a child chasing a ball toward the street, unnoticed by the parents, a loose manhole cover near a corner where cars often made sudden turns. Without panic, Sarah began adjusting her environment to anticipate danger. She pulled her SUV slightly forward to block the lane from the swerving car, honked gently to alert the child, and noted the manhole cover to avoid it while driving. To an onlooker, it seemed she was simply being careful. But these were preparatory instincts honed by years of Army training. She was already reacting to threats before they became emergencies. She had a close-knit circle of friends who appreciated her reliability, but didn't know her military history. She volunteered occasionally, helping local schools with organization or safety drills. Her family life was loving but understated. She often dropped her younger brother at school and helped her neighbors with errands. All the while, she maintained her secret, her training, her courage, her ability to act decisively in moments of extreme danger. It was a part of her that had always remained hidden, because ordinary life demanded she blend in. By the end of Act 1, Sarah drove home from a morning of errands, unaware that her ordinary day would soon be interrupted by a crisis that would demand every ounce of skill, courage, and leadership she had acquired in the Army. The stage is set. She appears as just an SUV driver, calm and unassuming, while the world around her teeters on the brink of chaos. The audience knows she is capable, but no one else does, creating suspense and anticipation for the dramatic events to come. It was mid-afternoon when Sarah drove through the crowded downtown streets. Everything seemed normal, until it wasn't. A delivery truck, its brakes failing, careened toward a crosswalk filled with pedestrians. Chaos erupted. People screamed, cars honked, and the scene became a blur of panic. Sarah's heart did not race. Her training kicked in instinctively. She scanned the area, identified escape routes, and assessed which lives were most immediately at risk. Unlike most drivers, she was already thinking 2 steps ahead. Without hesitation, Sarah slammed her SUV into reverse to create a barrier between the truck and a group of children frozen in fear. "Everyone, move back. Get behind the cars," she shouted, her voice calm but commanding. She assessed threats in seconds. She prioritized lives over property. She coordinated the panicked crowd without hesitation. A man tried to grab a child in the middle of the street, and Sarah's precise timing allowed her to nudge her SUV just enough to block the truck. giving him a chance to pull the child to safety. Bystanders froze, awestruck. No one else could react with such speed and composure. The delivery truck skidded dangerously, bouncing off the curb. Other drivers panicked, honking and swerving, creating additional hazards. She used her SUV to shield pedestrians from oncoming cars. She flagged traffic with quick, controlled gestures she had learned in Army convoy drills. She instructed a couple of bystanders to help move children and elderly people to safety. Every decision was calculated, every action precise. What seemed like ordinary driving had transformed into a rescue operation orchestrated by a trained soldier. Even as chaos surrounded her, Sarah's calm demeanor never faltered. Who is this woman? How does she know what to do? She's saving lives! Look at her! For the first time, the ordinary SUV driver facade began to crack. The public was witnessing her Army training in action, though no one yet knew her backstory. Finally, the delivery truck came to a halt against a light pole, avoiding what could have been a devastating tragedy. Sarah ensured everyone was accounted for. Children were reunited with their parents, injured pedestrians were attended to, and traffic began to return to normal. Only then did she step back, wipe a trace of sweat from her brow, and quietly resume her day as if nothing extraordinary had happened. But the bystanders were buzzing. Did you see her? She just handled everything. She wasn't panicking at all. Who is she? Sarah smiled faintly, aware of the impression she had left. The world had glimpsed her strength. But the full truth, her years of Army training, courage, and discipline was yet to be revealed. By the time emergency crews arrived to fully secure the scene, the crowd of onlookers had grown. People whispered, trying to understand how a seemingly ordinary SUV driver had acted with such precision under extreme pressure. One neighbor, trembling with awe, asked aloud, "Who is she? How did she know exactly what to do?" Another chimed in, "She wasn't panicking at all. She was like a soldier." The murmurs spread rapidly through the crowd, building anticipation and curiosity. Everyone wanted to know the identity of the woman who had saved lives without hesitation. A local reporter approached Sarah as she returned to her SUV, trying to get a comment. Calmly, she explained, "I'm a U.S. Army veteran. I've trained for situations like this. What you saw today wasn't luck, it was preparation, training, and experience in responding to high-pressure scenarios." The crowd gasped. Faces that had previously dismissed her as just an SUV driver now lit up with shock and admiration. People stepped back, finally seeing her not as an ordinary neighbor, but as someone extraordinary. Her military service, previously invisible, was now central to the story. The quiet strength she carried every day had suddenly revealed itself in the most dramatic way. "Thank you for saving those children. You didn't even hesitate. You knew exactly what to do. We had no idea you were trained in the Army." Even the police officers who had observed the entire scene nodded in respect. Officer Ramirez said quietly, "You handled that situation better than anyone could have expected." "That's incredible composure." Sarah smiled, keeping her tone humble. "I was trained to stay calm and focus on what's important. Today, it wasn't about me. It was about protecting lives. Anyone in this situation can act decisively if they remain calm and think clearly." The crowd absorbed her words, many realizing the deeper lesson. Heroism can be hidden in the most ordinary people, waiting for the moment to shine. The media began documenting her story. Neighbors spoke of it for days. And social media buzzed with admiration for the SUV driver who saved lives. But for Sarah, life would eventually return to normal. She had revealed her Army background, inspired her community, and reminded everyone that appearances can be deceiving. The stage is now set for Act 4, where the story resolves with lasting impact. The community is inspired, the danger is fully resolved, and Sarah's quiet heroism leaves a permanent mark. In the days following the incident, the neighborhood buzzed with admiration for Sarah. Residents who had once overlooked her now treated her with respect, acknowledging the hidden strength they had witnessed. Children waved whenever she drove by, excited to see the hero SUV driver. Neighbors who had underestimated her reached out to thank her personally. Local businesses praised her, posting stories of her bravery on community boards. The event became a symbol. Ordinary people can possess extraordinary courage, and calm, decisive action can save lives. Despite the attention, Sarah remained humble. She did not seek recognition or awards, instead focusing on encouraging. Neighbors to learn basic safety and first aid skills. Volunteering at local schools to teach children about awareness and preparedness. Quietly continuing her daily routines, showing that heroism doesn't need to be loud or showy. Her army training had not just saved lives, it had inspired her community to act responsibly, courageously, and with greater care for each other. One evening, Sarah parked her SUV near the same intersection where the crisis had occurred. She watched a group of children playing safely under the watchful eyes of their parents. It's not about being noticed. It's about being ready when it matters. Courage isn't about fighting for glory. It's about protecting others quietly, effectively. She smiled softly, knowing that she had done her duty and that her community had witnessed the true power of preparedness, composure, and training. News outlets covered the story. Ordinary SUV driver turns hero, thanks to Army training. Social media praised her decisiveness and calm courage. For the community, her actions became a lasting lesson. Don't judge someone by appearances. Everyday people can have extraordinary abilities. True leadership and heroism are shown through action, not ego. Sarah drove home that evening, the sun setting behind her, the SUV gliding through the streets like any ordinary vehicle, but now to those who knew the story, it carried the symbol of courage, discipline, and quiet heroism. The story closes on a note of inspiration. Sarah, once seen as just an ordinary SUV driver, had transformed the lives of those around her, not through fame or power, but through courage, skill, and integrity.